Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a comedy romance film called Life or Something Like It from 2002. Enjoy your viewing. After her mom died, Lainey's life changed. She and her sister Gwen began to compete for their father's attention, and each felt neglected. This rivalry also carried over into their relationships with boys. Since childhood, Lainey had been inconspicuous, especially next to Gwen, so all the boys went to her sister. However, Lainey did not give up. She changed herself, created her own image from scratch, and became a TV news anchor. Now she lived in a luxurious apartment, was engaged to a famous baseball player, and shone in her TV reports. One day after work, her boss, Dennis, called her into his office to share some good news. The top-rated program needed a new face to attract a younger audience. He sent a recording of one of Lainey's reports to New York. If she is selected, she will become the host of this program. The selection process can take months, and Lainey still has a lot to learn. For example, she needs to work better in front of the camera. That's why Dennis wants her to work with Pete, one of the best cameramen on local television. Lainey doesn't like this, because she and Pete have a history that she would like to forget. However, her boss insists, and she has to agree. At the first meeting, she and Pete exchanged jokes and reminisced about old times, and then Pete decided to make a bad joke and changed the microphone settings. The result was hilarious, but Lainey didn't appreciate the joke. She immediately went to complain to her boss, but Dennis thought the report was great. He insisted that they should continue to work together. They couldn't get rid of Pete, and Lainey resigned herself to the necessity of cooperation. At dinner that night, she told her colleague and friend Andrea that Pete had become her cameraman again. Andrea admitted that she had had fun with him once. To Lainey's surprise, she was hurt by this. The next day, Lainey and Pete went to shoot a story about a homeless man whom everyone called Prophet Jack. He would stand on the street with his nightstand, climb on it, establish a connection with the cosmos, and make prophecies. So far, Jack had never been wrong. At least he thought so himself. Before the interview, Pete approached Jack to talk to him and gave him money. Lainey noticed this, and she wondered if Jack could really predict the future. She asked him if he would get a new job, but Jack answered, no. Then the interview began, and Lainey asked what the score of the next match would be. The Prophet Jack gave the exact score. He also said that there would be hail in the morning. At the end of the interview, Jack said that Lainey would die next Thursday. That is, in a week. Lainey lost her temper because of this prophecy. She was sure that Pete had bribed the homeless man to play a joke on her, but Pete denied it. That same evening, Prophet Jack's first prediction came true. The match ended with the exact score he had predicted. Lainey was terrified. In the morning, as soon as she woke up, it was hailing outside. 2 of the 3 prophecies had already come true. At that moment, Lainey realized that she had no more than a week to live. The first thing she did was go to the doctor to check her health. It turned out that her body was very strong, and she was not in danger of heart attacks or cancer. Lainey tried to calm down again and asked Pete if he had set up these predictions, but Pete denied it again. He believes that Lainey is panicking so much because she has realized that her perfect life is really worthless. There is only a week left before her predicted death. Although Pete doesn't believe in Jack's prophecies, he's sure that he's just saying things. If any of it comes true, it's a coincidence. In the evening, Lainey comes to her father's house. It was his birthday, and Gwen was already there. She was trying to outdo her sister in everything, and Lainey was sure she had succeeded. Gwen was her father's favorite, so Lainey felt out of place and left. At night, she called her fiancé to share her fears, but he took her words lightly. Lainey bought a drink and went to see Prophet Jack to see if he could really predict the future. She asked him to give her another prophecy. Jack said, "Tomorrow morning at 9:06 a.m., there will be an earthquake in San Francisco." In the morning, Lainey turns on the TV so she doesn't miss the news. And just as she is calming down, thinking that no earthquake has occurred, they suddenly report that several tremors have been recorded in San Francisco. After that, Lainey completely lost it. She even went to Pete to talk to him. Pete opened her eyes to her life, even though he still didn't believe that Lainey would die in a week. And if she believes that the Prophet Jack is right, she has to change her life. After all, Jack could have seen the future of some other reality where Lainey did not change anything and died. Realizing that Pete could not help her, Lainey went to her sister. She shared her fears and realized that Gwen, despite her seemingly perfect life, was also unhappy. She was also jealous of Lainey, had her own problems, and sometimes felt that her life was empty. When Cal came back, Lainey had forgotten everything. She took off her contact lenses, put her glasses back on, didn't shower in the morning, and started binge-eating junk food. She even hinted to Cal that she didn't see a future with him. Cal decided to lift his girlfriend's spirits. He brought her to the stadium so that Lainey could try to hit the ball with a bat. It always worked for him, and he thought it would help her blow off steam. However, Lainey did not appreciate his gesture and decided that they were not on the same page. In the evening, Lainey got drunk at a bar, and in the morning she had to do a live report. She had to interview the bus drivers who had gone on strike, but she was gone for a long time and was even replaced. However, at the last moment, Lainey appeared in the crowd of drivers. She was dressed just like them, and when the live broadcast began, instead of an interview, she put on a show with songs. Her concert was broadcast on all channels, and only the lazy did not make fun of this report. Lainey woke up in Pete's house. She didn't remember yesterday very well, and when she found out what had happened, she was horrified. She would definitely be fired after this, and now she will never get a new job. She had nothing to lose, so Lainey gave up on her career and stayed with Pete. Meanwhile, he was going for a walk with his son and invited Lainey to come along. He had divorced his wife a long time ago, but he was in regular contact with Tommy. He and his ex didn't plan to get married, it was just the way things worked out. However, they later realized that living with an unloved person is harder than raising a son alone. Lainey and Tommy quickly found a common language. The boy even thought that his dad and Lainey were a couple, but they assured him that they were just colleagues. When they returned to Pete's house, they realized that they were attracted to each other. After spending the night together, they acted like teenagers in love in the morning. When Lainey came to work, Dennis broke the good news. Because of her spontaneous report on the strike, her face became known throughout America, and the owners of a New York television station wanted to hire her. Lainey is happy and accepts the offer. Moreover, now she is sure that she will not die, because Jack was wrong about her new job. She was hired after all. Pete, however, does not share her joy. He was sure that Lainey had changed, had become the girl he had once loved, but she remained the same, putting her career before her personal life. Lainey asked him to move to New York with her, but Pete refused. He can't leave his son and doesn't see the point of being around someone like Lainey. They quarrel again, and Lainey goes to her father to say goodbye. There she learns that he loves her after all. He says that he has always treated his daughters the same, and he even proves it by showing her the tapes of her reports. He especially loves the one where she entertains her mother in the hospital. Meanwhile, Pete goes to see Prophet Jack to tell him that he made a mistake. She wants to take out her anger on him, but Jack replies that Lainey will not get a new job, because tomorrow she will die. That means she won't have any work. When Pete leaves, Jack makes a new prophecy that immediately comes true. Realizing that this is serious, Pete flies to New York to get Lainey. Meanwhile, she is getting used to her new position. This morning, she has a live broadcast scheduled. Lainey is to interview his idol, journalist Deborah. Deborah is known for her frank questions. She likes to bring her guests to tears, forcing them to open up to the audience. However, she herself does not intend to answer spontaneous questions, so she prepared a list of topics in advance. During the interview, Lainey realizes that she doesn't want to follow the template. She asks Deborah about her personal life, wondering how her idol survived the loss of a loved one, since Deborah also sacrificed personal happiness for her career. During the conversation, Deborah gradually opens up, and she even starts to cry. The interview is sincere and lively, but as soon as the broadcast ends, Deborah declares Lainey her personal enemy. She even demands to be fired. However, the channel's management liked what they saw, and they decide to keep Lainey on the job. But now she no longer needs this job. She doesn't want to regret many years later that she traded her personal happiness for a career. Lainey goes outside. At this moment, the police arrest an armed criminal. An accidental shot is fired, and the bullet hits Lainey. That's when Pete appears. He sees the girl falling down wounded. In the hospital, Lainey stays unconscious for some time. She even sees a tunnel and a light at the end of it. But then she comes back to life. Pete is sitting next to her bed. He confesses that he has always loved Lainey and wants to spend the rest of his life with her. Lainey returns to Seattle, and now she and Pete live happily together, taking Tommy to baseball games. The Prophet Jack is also resting there. He still predicts the future and has never been wrong. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klonsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.